Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market, let's talk about what happened today, what we can expect moving forward, and all that good stuff. If you enjoy, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but of course, if you enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc., well, again, I do share my thoughts with my members every single day as the market is trading, as the market is open. Definitely check that out. That link is down below. Just $3 a month. That's all it includes, which of course includes, well, all of my Tesla updates, and I include any SPY, QQQ, kind of broader market updates in that tier as well. Just $3 a month. That's all it is. $5 a month adds NVDA to that as well. So all my NVIDIA updates, options, full technical analysis, etc., 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 every single day. $7 a month USD includes everything I just said, plus non-Tesla, non-NVIDIA charts and stocks that I share opportunities with. And of course, over the weekend, I do chart requests with members over on Discord every single Sunday. But jumping into a Tesla, closing the day with a nice, pretty good 1.5%. But I think this was a pretty important, actually, 1.5%. Closing out just shy of $352, which compared to the market, which very quickly I'll go over, QQQ, up only 0.4%. Tesla, once again, outperforming, looking pretty good so far. Now, obviously, as you can see here, QQQ, the broader market, well, they look a little bit different. You can see tech has been overall weaker than SPY. SPY's been a lot stronger. That's kind of look a bit of a rising triangle pattern actually on SPY. SPY looks strong. QQQ definitely has a little more concerns to it. Sometimes when you see this kind of divergence between the two in terms of overall price, such as in this case SPY being decently higher, I would argue, compared to QQQ, that sometimes could be a bit of a warning flag. Let's continue watching though. Let's continue watching. But for Qs, I would absolutely be watching this potential, keywords potential, head and shoulders pattern, bearish head and shoulders pattern. So the bulls definitely want to go ahead and break above 575 plus to avoid this pattern. Just watch for that. Now, going to Tesla. Tesla's looking pretty solid right now. Tesla, it actually broke this high back here a bit quicker than I expected. Like I said I think it was yesterday, I mentioned how, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla gets a bit of a drawdown. And we got a teensy-weensy drawdown this morning. We went to about 343-ish roughly, which, kind of close to where I mentioned, but I definitely expected a little bit more than that, right? I thought it will go down to the low 340s, maybe the high 330s was my kind of expectation, somewhere around here, essentially to that 9 exponential moving average. Instead, we had that teensy-weensy drop, and then for the most part, we rocketed back up towards the end of the day, closing pretty strongly. Now, Tesla definitely has a little bit more work to do. These low 350s, kind of 350 to 352-ish range is crucial, right? This is the range that we want to not only break above, kind of like what we did here, but most importantly, to avoid something like this, essentially, which I think was the whole Trump-Elon thing. But nonetheless, to avoid this thing, what do we need to see happen, right? What needs to happen? Well, pretty simply put, we need to hold this area as support. As you can see, the second we failed it, we broke above it. We had 2 candles kind of trying to hold it, looked, potentially okay. And then we, of course, lost it. And the second we lost that, that despite holding the 9 exponential moving average, there were some warning flags there, because now we took what a range that should have been a support, that was a resistance, should have been now support, and we closed back down below it. And then the next 2 candles, what do? We visibly turned it into a resistance. So in other words, what we want to avoid is something like this, right? So any push up that we get, we want to make sure any pullback ends up acting as a support in this sort of low 350s-ish region. Because we haven't fully, truly broken out yet, in my opinion, kind of like what we did on this candle back here, there is still a chance that we haven't really, truly gotten that breakout yet, right? I want to see a little bit of a higher push, and then I want to see it turn into support. That is the ideal scenario, but because we haven't had that breakout just yet, I'm giving it a bit more wiggle room down to about this range right around here, sort of the mid-ish 340s, 345, 346, something like that, right? So in other words, to make it simple, Tesla bullish breakout looks pretty solid. I see it's overall a bullish look, right? It's undeniably a bullish look. It's just a matter of, can we get that teensy-weensy push higher and then turn this sort of low 350s-ish range into support? Or do we kind of, get a small rejection from here, and then we'll look at the mid-ish, again, 340s as support. Below that, we can still get that, if we lose, again, the mid-340s, we can get that slightly deeper retracement closer to that 9 exponential moving average, currently sitting at 337. Tomorrow, it'll be a tad higher, maybe 338-ish and change, but it'll be a closer touch to that. Remember, even when Tesla goes parabolic, for the most part, it goes parabolic a little bit, and then what does it do almost every single time, right? Well, it comes back down to the 9 exponential moving average, and then here it went pretty parabolic, but eventually came back down into it. And even on the more kind of regular, if you will, less chaotic type explosions, it's still kind of you can see sort of follows that 9 exponential moving average. as well. So, that's kind of one of those things where I like to see a stock ride the 9 EMA, right? That's usually what I like to see because it says that it's a strong bullish trend, but it's not too aggressive to where sometimes when it's too aggressive, it usually leads into a harsh sell-off after, which is something you want to make sure you avoid. So all in all, that's kind of what I'm seeing, right? So, let's continue watching this pretty crucial zone that we're pretty much right in the middle of right now. But if we go to the 4-hour chart, we'll get a bit more information. For instance, the 4-hour chart, the SMI, you can see it is still kind of pointing up. It's not getting a full curl just yet. I kind of like it here, kind of like it did here. It is still pointing straight up. So we could get that small extra push higher into like 353 to 355. And then it starts to curl. We start to kind of consolidate. And then, of course, we get the SMI to kind of, cool off a little bit, maybe back to around the neutral spot, which is 0. And that would essentially have the stock from up here come back down and essentially start consolidating around this area and turning it into a support as we kind of go sideways for a little bit, maybe developing some kind of bullish pattern, bullish flag, wedge, whatever. And then that lets the 4-hour SMI, which again, in the past, if you're new here, has been very good at marking near-term tops and near-term bottoms. I'm going to pause the video here and you can go ahead and match the SMI when it's at the very top like this or at the very bottom like this and see where it is on the chart, and you can see for yourself that it's been pretty damn good. So it is a bit of a warning flag that we are all the way up here already, but again, this doesn't necessarily mean it has to drop. Again, the thing with the SMI, and this is why I usually use it for selling options, is because just because it's up here or down here, it doesn't always necessarily mean the stock has to just plummet from here on out, right? Easily can mean the fact that maybe we just don't rocket up as high anymore for a little bit and we just go sideways, which in that case, guess what? Option selling actually benefits arguably the most from, right? So just worth mentioning. And the final thing, of course, is worth mentioning is the fact of the 1-hour time frame, right? Let's go to the 1 hour here. SMI, you can see getting a bit of a bearish divergence as we went and made higher highs. We are getting some lower highs in the SMI. So we are seeing a bit of a bearish divergence there on the SMI. Let's see if the RSI. RSI is also showing that as well. So short term, we're getting a little bit of those kind of toppy signals. So I'd definitely be a little bit careful of fully aggressively chasing up here, not financial advice. But with that being said, I do overall look at this overall movement, despite any potential drawbacks that we may get, still as very bullish territory, very bullish setup, and overall a very bullish situation to be in. Why? Because the weekly looks absolutely phenomenal. And as long as the weekly closes with some level of strength, essentially this week, of course, especially above 350s, it's looking good. It's looking pretty good. And I really would be shocked if we don't see at some point the 380s minimum. That would be my main target, minimum, right? So again, one step at a time. Let's continue monitoring it. Let's see where it develops, where it leads us into, and all of that good stuff. In terms of options flow, let's take a look at options flow. What is it telling us, right? Let me go ahead and refresh this. I did have to record this video a little bit late. Had a bit of an adventure IRL, let's just say that. Tesla, see what's happening here. So overall, the options flow, you can see for Tesla, we had one nice 2.2 million call, 700 strike. To be fair, it is for June 18th, 2026, almost a year out, but nonetheless, that's pretty far out the money. Pretty worth mentioning. There's an 834 one, exact same thing, just not above the ask, but hey, pretty bullish. It's long term, so keep in mind it's not going to mean anything, potentially anytime soon, but pretty good still. And overall, pretty standard bullish flow. I wouldn't say the bullish flow aside from that really was like anything unusual. Usually I look for gold or blue kind of highlights, right? Sometimes the purple ones are good. They usually mean that it's, a pretty aggressive short term, but not like unusually aggressive, just aggressive. Seeing a decent amount of those as well. So bulls are definitely, stepping in. I think Tesla is looking very, very bullish. I would be hard pressed to be bearish here, other than maybe bearish for like very, very short term. But the overall trajectory, especially on this pennant weekly breakout, is undeniably bullish. And if you look at this and you think it's bearish, then you may need to get your glasses checked, to be completely honest with you. But again, overall, above 330, the stock is undeniably bullish. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.